What exactly happened today?
Yeah, there were a few things that happened, and both of them were things that we've seen previously, but they have since been kind of amended or updated because of the whistleblower that we talked about, Emily. The first is that Elon Musk sent another letter to Twitter yesterday saying, I'm formally walking away from the deal, and here's the reasons why. And those reasons now include more information from the whistleblower, which he didn't have when he sent the first version of that letter back in early July. And the second thing that he's doing is, he's trying to amend his counterclaims, right? So when Twitter sued him, he essentially sued the company back with his own counterclaims. And now he's trying to update those counterclaims again with more information that he has from the whistleblower that he didn't have the first time around. So essentially, he's putting the whistleblower very much at the center of his argument here as to why he should be able to walk away from this deal.
So, Professor Lipton, basically, as I understand it, Musk has changed his argument and is giving a completely different reason for wanting to terminate this deal. Is that correct? And does that help or hurt his chances in court?
It's well, certainly yes, it's correct. One of the interesting things about the whistleblower is that he actually, in a roundabout way, agrees with Twitter on the bot issue. That has been the issue that's been dominating the proceedings up until now. The whistleblower kind of says, yeah, Twitter's probably right about that particular issue that Elon Musk has been litigating, but there are all these other problems with the company: data security, FTC compliance, IP issues. So now Elon Musk is claiming that those are in fact his basis for walking away. In terms of helping or hurting him, the first question is whether the court will even allow him to bring all this stuff in now. I mean, paper discovery was supposed to end yesterday. This would require, and Musk has requested, moving the trial date back to November, reopening discovery. And so there's the first question is whether the court will even allow that. That said, I think if she does, I mean, this helps him. I think that I'm not sure that I can really evaluate the strength of Zatko's, the whistleblower's allegations, but I think they are stronger on their face than everything Musk has been litigating up until now. So, and certainly giving him more grounds to walk away rather than fewer is better for Musk.
That said, if Elon Musk signed a paper saying, I'm going to buy Twitter, no strings attached, isn't it, do all of these other issues potentially raised by the whistleblower actually matter?
Yeah, they do, but they matter in different ways because Musk actually has two separate arguments. One is contractual. It's Twitter made certain promises to me in the contract and it breached the contract, and I get to walk away for that reason. The second argument is fraud. Twitter intentionally misled me as to the condition of this company, and for that reason, I get to walk away. So those are two separate arguments. On the contract one, Musk can only succeed if he is able to show that all of these allegations add up to a material adverse effect, which basically means long-term impact on Twitter's finances. The reason that's the standard for the contract claim is because that's literally in the contract. That's what it says. So if he can show that, he gets to walk away, and it doesn't matter how much diligence he did or whether he, relied on anything. That's just what the contract says. For fraud, if Musk can show that Twitter intentionally deceived him and he relied on that, then he gets to walk away for that reason. And in that case, though, his reliance is harder to establish given his sort of very public, not doing due diligence, and all of those things make it harder for him to argue he relied on anything for himself.
Kurt, Elon Musk is asking the judge to move the trial now from October to November. How likely is that to happen?
I actually don't know the answer to that because I'm not exactly sure how prevalent this type of request is. I can say just based on kind of common sense, it seems to make sense that they would want a little bit more time because they just have so much more information today than they did a month ago when they decided on this trial date, right? And so I could see this happening, but again, I don't really know if that is a common thing to push a trial back by that far, especially once both sides had already worked quite aggressively to come to a week that worked for both of them.
Professor Lipton, you were nodding there. Are you thinking this trial is getting moved? And what else are you watching for?
Yeah, I don't know if it's getting moved. I think it's less about getting the move is secondary to does he get to bring in all this new stuff? And literally, she's supposed to consider justice. That's actually the standard. Is it just to allow him to reopen discovery and bring all these new claims in. On the one hand, the argument is, well, I had no idea that any of this was going on. Of course he should be allowed to. But the alternative argument is that the reason he had no idea was because he chose not to do any due diligence. A lot of the papers right now are, they're under seal. Twitter will, of course, have its own response. But so it's really hard to tell right now just how much justice is done by allowing him to basically start over.
Discovery, as we're speaking, has been ongoing. What could come to light in that process? Could there be some sort of smoking gun?
Could there? Sure. I mean, Zach has this. It's very redacted. It's hard to say. But he's got, allegations of sort of hair-raising security deficiencies and IP deficiencies. He's got a lot of reports about internal reports to the board and internal reports to people that were ignored or covered up. And the part that's very difficult to tell from the outside is how much this is Twitter fraudulently covering up a poorly run business, which is, of course, what Musk is claiming, versus an employee who may very well feel strongly and about how the company should be run, but this is just a disagreement with an employee with management, and management gets to ultimately make those kinds of choices.